What's going on? What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Room. Having a healthy mind is priority. Before we even start, I want to give a shout out to Shakira. Last week, it wasn't really planned. I kind of just threw it in there in the middle of editing, but she's responsible for the fire intro. And y'all just saw the new intro for the specific series, man. So shout out to Shakira. Thank you for doing that for me. Her IG will be down below in case anybody want to hit up for any type of graphic design, digital design, anything like that. She's the one to go to. But definitely today, we're gonna plug that. Definitely today, how am I gonna put this? It's not really a continuation, but just to kind of reflect back. Last week was about facing your fears, and I had Lena here. I remember her, did a whole album with her, and the conversation was, I forgot you heard that album. Mm-hmm. Oh, we performed. We gonna get into that. We'll get into that. It was basically about just facing your fears and realizing that your fear is really your friend when it comes to anything you're trying to do in life. If you're not afraid, if you're not a little nervous, if you don't get butterflies in your stomach, then it's not really for you. That's what I personally believe, and I feel very, very strongly about that. Today, I have another person, and I feel like I've told you this before, like, if not through DM in person. I'm super, super grateful for anybody that allows me any opportunity to do anything with the things I love. We met through a mutual friend. Shout out to her. She didn't know me at all. It was just a mutual respect and a mutual support. She heard the music.
Love for the music.
Genuinely loved the music. Hit me up to perform. Did my thing at the first event. Want to say that was 2017. Ooh, 2017. Shit. 2017. Fast forward, second event. Me and Lena performed, I believe, 2 records, and it was a request again from this woman right here, just out of genuine support and respect for us to come there and perform the music. The events was, for lack of a better term, and there's a reason why I'm saying this, the events was not to cut all that shit off. The events was nothing short of amazing, and the reason why I'm saying that is because the reason why she did it. People put a lot of events together for one simple reason: get whatever you can get out of it, dollar-wise, and that's it. You move on to whatever else you're trying to do. But this woman here put events together not only to get her brand and the things she was doing out, but to create a space for other creatives, for other people to come together, network, sell whatever they're trying to sell to each other, work with each other, whatever it is. It's a few individuals. You don't speak every day, but I, keep in contact with time, from time to time that I met from those events. Without further ado, I want to introduce to you guys the woman who, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like we talk every day and I know a million things about her, but from the things that I observed and the things that I've been able to be inspired by, I've watched her, through Instagram, cater multiple events, never really complain about the hard work that goes into it, the hard work that it entails. At the Express Your Love events, which I performed at, I've watched her kind of just run around like a chicken with a head cut off, just to make sure things is right, everybody's where they're supposed to be, and things
and keep moving.
Exactly, man. So without further ado, I want to welcome to you guys a great woman, a woman who I think is great. Her name is Sade. August, and she is, I'm correct in saying, the CEO?
Yeah, the owner of Smiles Catering.
The owner of Smiles Catering, man. I want to thank you first and foremost for stepping into the room.
I really appreciate that.
Giving me the opportunity to do this. Y'all
know how I am.
I know how I am, you know, when I do the talking, I don't like to talk too much. Don't really want to bore anybody. Mm-hmm. My whole point here is to everything we do here has to do with mental health, but more importantly, creating a healthy mental space. Whether that has to do with creating a healthy routine that consists of diet, exercise, a busy routine that just consists of a lot of time management when it comes to whatever goals you have set, you know, in front of yourself.
Just to continue off what you was talking about with time management, I think that's like the number one thing to have a successful business, time management, and to keep a healthy headspace, meditation, working out, eating right. What you eat is who you are, will make you that person you need to be. My big thing is having small-term goals and long-term goals. So if you want to start a clothing line, maybe your short-term goal is to find a couple vendors. Mm-hmm. Find a couple of vendors by a week that has the kind of t-shirts or shoes you're looking for. By week 2, having someone calling these vendors and finding other people that use the same vendors. And by 2 months, ordering from that vendor or buying, if you have a t-shirt company, okay, I'm gonna purchase the flat press, you know, purchase and making one purchase at a time. But you keep going back until these goals so you could reach what you need to reach, your final goal, saying, I'm going to have my launch party in a year. But so you're doing all these little baby steps to reach that final goal. And then you just keep starting over and over again. Yeah, you just, small-term and long-term goals, I feel like is very important. With my business itself, I started Smiles Catering because I was a single mother and I was in college with my sister, and we needed to pay the rent. So while I was pregnant with my daughter, I was doing all the research I need to do on catering companies, and that's YouTube videos, Googling certain aspects, searching other catering companies and just visiting, asking, oh, can I talk to you about certain things? How do you do this? How do you do that? I have so much respect for you. How do you get here? Finding out how to write a contract, seeing do I need a lawyer, what legal documents I need. So throughout my pregnancy, I set those small-term goals. So when my daughter was born, and to get all to that, my daughter had 6 surgeries, so she was and she was hospitalized for 6 months, and I was there and in college. I just try to hit those small-term goals. So even when I did my first event when she was 6 months and she just got home, she had her nurse there. And I was like, I had to do this event. And her nurse, like, don't worry, I got you. And it was a big thing for me because I did all those little small steps. I bought my equipment. I got a lawyer. I did everything. So I didn't know if I was going to be successful or not. But my first event ended up being Fashion Week. So you have to set your small-term goals and long-term goals and believe in yourself. Keep a healthy mind frame, because having a sick baby, also being in college, doing all these different things, if I'm eating bad, I'm going to feel bad. Mm. If I'm not moving, I'm not getting vitamin D, I'm going to be depressed. There's already everything around me is going to make me depressed. So I'm not going to add on to that laying on the couch, not getting that sunlight. And it's just small things like that I think is important that we don't talk about. Therapy, all these mental health things we need as a community.
I'm glad you actually talked about that, because that's something that kind of gets lost, and even the conversation I've been having, it kind of gets lost. So you made a great point. It's super important to make sure you have those small-term goals. That's what's going to be beneficial to the long-term goals. So everything you were saying, putting a plan together, looking up vendors, doing your research on YouTube, getting a lawyer, these are all steps that she took to set up for having the kind of business that she has and making sure it's ran in the way that she wants to run it.
And successfully. You can't jump into anything and thinking like is a saying, anything worth having, you have to work hard for. I think I kind of said it the way it's supposed to be. So if it's something easy, it ain't going to mean nothing for you. Mm-hmm. So you have to do those. You have to make those steps. Like, damn, I want to go out tonight to the party, but I gotta pay for this lawyer. That's the sacrifice. If it's worth having, if it's worth anything, you're gonna have to make sacrifice. Point blank. Period. You want to be a good parent. If you really love your kids, you're gonna spend time with them.
Exactly. And it goes back to something I repeat in every episode. In order to get the body that you want at the gym, you got to do the work. You have to do the work. You can't just sit back and, yeah, I'm gonna get my six pack. It's gonna appear. You can't do that. The same way she wasn't able to just sit back and say, you know, food's gonna get done itself. The business gonna pick up by itself. She did the work that she needed to do. If you're comfortable, I want you to take me back to when you said, you're in college, your daughter is going through these surgeries. Take me back to kind of what contributed to you, I guess, being motivated to get the things done even during that time. Did your daughter's situation play into you being motivated to start the business, get it going? Like, take me back to just that time frame.
So, like, my way of thinking from life, we're gonna go back way before that. Before that, that was when I was 24. When I was 17, I was homeless with my son. Me being a Caribbean child, I'm trying to crack up. Me being a Caribbean child and not having the support I need, you got to do this on your own. So I was homeless. I was married at 18. I was pregnant. I had no sort of money at all. I had a supportive family, but once I was pregnant, it was taken away. But my main thinking from having Caribbean parents is to work hard. So before my child was born, he wasn't born into homelessness. He had a home. So having my second child, it was like, what is next? And I always say, like, someone's like, oh, you don't want to have a third child when my income increase. I would love to have 10 kids. But every time I have a child, I want to see 50 more thousand. Because all my children going to college, all my children are going to have trust funds. They're going to have those different things. And I had to work hard for that because I wasn't born into that. So going back to what you were saying, I couldn't have a high school diploma like I had with my son. I had to have a college degree with my daughter because it's 2, not 1. And for me to have that college degree, I'm working, but it's not cutting it. What else do you want to do? My stepfather was a chef, and he taught us how to cook. And then when I looked into the catering business, and I seen how hard they had him working, I said, I want to make sure I have something for him and for myself, because this is a business that you will see revenue constantly. So
people's always hungry, man. Somebody's always out there trying to eat. So
definitely, people's always hungry, and people always want to drink and have a good time. West Indian people, New York people, we want to have a good time. So you need some food with that, and then you're gonna see I said you're gonna see 2 young girls in their early 20s, not saying, oh, I'm gonna sell a plate. I already put in my mind frame 75 people or more. That's it. So people they will value me. They will value my business. I'm not doing, like they say, oh, you're a catering company, you want to do a plate. I'm not doing no plates. 75 people or more. So then that money's gonna appear. So I don't know what did that come from, but the reason why I continue, because I want my children to have a certain life. And it's not material things, it's just the point of not struggling, because my children never be I could never say my children would be homeless because they would have certain things set up. Yeah.
Listen, let me start off by saying I always have, an idea of what I want to, take certain episodes. But it's super, super dope to me when I'm sitting next to somebody that kind of, I pay attention. For lack of better terms, I pay attention. So when people speak, it can kind of take the episode a different way. And in this particular thing, you're saying a lot of important things that I never even thought to touch on before. And I think now, being that you're here, it's a great time to touch on it.
Let's go into it.
You're a mother. You're a mother, right? So I guess I want to start there because I know that that's number one, that's a pressure that nobody's ever going to be able to understand unless they're in that position.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have kids. My brother had all the kids for us, so I have nieces and nephews, so I can't even say that I connect with that or even relate to it directly. Now, I know what I do here is always trying to break down the mental capacity and the mental strength that it takes to do certain things. But I think I want to start from there and then go into your catering business. So you as a mom, because you said a lot of important things and everything kind of leads into one thing with you saying your kids will have not only the things they want, but the things you feel they need. If I'm paraphrasing correctly.
No, definitely.
And you basically you make sure that they're not going through the experiences you went through.
Yeah, because I feel like as I read a lot about the Black and Latino child, and when I went to the education system, that was my main thing too, was working with only Black and Latino children. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, okay, I'm a nurse, I'm working hard, I'm working all these hours, but then we don't get to spend time with our children. So I have this degree and I have this money, but we don't get to spend time. Or I don't have these things and my kids can't experience certain things. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing with the catering company. I can make a 2 weeks, 3 weeks salary in a day. So then I can hang out with my children and we out to Disney from one night. So, yeah, it was difficult, like preparing the food, pre-cooking, figuring out contract, pleasing people, doing certain things, but it's that little reward system, having that value and having that little reward system. Yeah, I'm gonna put this to the side in my business account, but this is for me, and I deserve it.
Super important. You deserve it. Would you say that your kids played a big part in you having that drive to keep it going?
Yeah, definitely. They're the reason for everything. They're the reason for every kind of transition when it even comes into business. So my daughter was the reason for the catering. However, now that we're moving forward and I'm getting ready to pay for my son college and everything, now I'm looking at real estate. I'm looking into taxes. I'm looking into things that I know is going to be a little more financially supportive towards me. Mm-hmm. So when it comes down to business, you could start here, but your overall short goals and long-term goals, you could end up here or wherever you want to go to. So
that's going to be that's going to be the title of the episode. Short-term and long-term goals.
It's a big thing.
That's the title. We just got a title for the episode. My bad. You continue.
5 long-term goals, 5 short-term goals. Keep going around every 5-6 months. If you don't make that, if you don't get to check it off, you put it right back on that list. So
whatever you're doing right now, make sure you pause this video, go get your notepad, I got my little magnetic I forgot the name for it, little whatever marker board shit. Put your 5
you know what I mean.
Put your 5 short-term goals on it and your 5 long-term goals on it. And stick to it, man. I've never said anything like that specifically, but I've always said that it's very, very important to write shit down. It's just a difference when you can see it and physically cross it off, and you're like, all right, I got that done. That's in the bag. That's good. Number 2, you can see your progress instead of you just sitting down and you in your brain, did I do that? Did I take care of this? You can physically see everything that you did step by step, man. So long-term goals, short-term goals. That's the title of the video. Damn, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like I feel like we can have a nice episode, man. What I want to move on right now. We talked about the kids. That's your motivation for everything. Mm-hmm. Making sure your kids experience. I've been using this word a lot. Purposeful, right? Mm. Living with a purpose, and I don't mean like having a purpose, which is super important too. When I say living with a purpose, I mean waking up with an idea instead of waking up just to wake up, if I'm making sense. Every day that I wake up, y'all know my routine. I start off with music. I love music. That's how I start my day. Every single day, I start off with the same goals, just because that's my morning routine. But the body, the in between, I make sure is always different. So yesterday, if my goal was to write 3 episode outlines, today's goal would be 5. Tomorrow's would be 6, 7. I just try not to keep it super leveled out. That way, each and every day, I'm elevating, I'm evolving, I'm doing something more, and I'm doing better than what I was the previous day. So that's what I mean, living with a purpose. So when I say she has her children living with a purpose, they know that there's certain things put in place for them, but also just in this world, no matter how much you may want to do for your kids, kids are still going to be kids. They still got to learn from mistakes. They still got to live life. But as long as they have that foundation and they learn from the parents to live with a purpose versus just living just to say you here, then I think that's a super important thing as to just keeping everything together. And that leads me to, if you're comfortable getting into it, what are some of the what are some of your personal struggles that you would say you kind of went through that kind of molded just your foundation? You talked about who you are. You talked about your stepfather kind of being the reason as far as the cooking. He taught you guys to cook, and you furthered that more. You looked into the business of it and kind of seen it as something that's going to be progressive. But just with anything, there's always an upside to it. There's always a downside to it.
I feel like the number one thing that did motivate me is having a dysfunctional family. I'm the oldest of 6, and I always say I'm a caretaker, so naturally.
6.
Yeah, really, let's put 7 because I have a half sister, which is my sister's sister. But I'm a caretaker, so it molded me to caring for others. So if you say my name, number one, people want to say, "Oh, Sade's so sweet, she's kind," because that caretaker aspect. And my mother also was an addict, so I had to be on 10 when it came down to take care. I was talking to my half sister, was it yesterday? Because we was chilling in Miami, got the Miami vibes, and but her mother wasn't an addict, and our mother was an addict, and I was like, you didn't have the experience. She's like, Sade, you don't stop. I'm like, how can I stop? I had to plug like the extension cord to the next door neighbor house. We used to live in Missouri, so we could get TV, and the lights is off, and my mother don't come, and I gotta keep rewinding putting the tape back in for my little 6 sisters and brothers so they could have light with the TV. You get what I'm saying? Or having to still water. So even though my kids be like, Mom, I gotta turn up the lights. You lucky these lights never came off. Or why you not still in New York? Why you had to go always to Texas to get a house? Because my kids had to have certain things. They had to appreciate certain things. Because my mother, she didn't push and I had to push. So now I'm still with that mind frame. I gotta go. And I was also telling her when it comes to mental health, it's like, okay, you have to stop sometimes and like think what's really wrong, and everything is based on childhood. Trauma from childhood makes you who you are. So it's things that's positive about me, but it's also things that's my weakness, like you said, and different things that's like I have. How can I explain this? Different things that mold me. That the negative things mold me into who I am as a person. I'm not gonna say I'm the most pleasant person, because if you date me, you're gonna say, "Oh, Sade, she crazy." I'm Scorpio, but I'm a loving, caring person. But it's also those trauma of having an addict mom that may come out now that I'm 30, or when I was 21. There's a trauma of being homeless at 18 that you're gonna look like that. I can never say, "Damn, I'm gonna be late on my rent." But then that trauma made me realize I'm gonna have mortgage. And now I'm thinking like, nah, I could be in the real estate business. Some people just use that trauma like, nah, I'm just gonna stay in the shelter system.
Because they're always scared.
I'm scared to really push myself. No, if I have to work 2 jobs, I'll work 2 jobs now. So, and I'm gonna try to push my business. But yeah, that would kind of mold me, having an addict mom, having being the oldest of 6 and being so supportive towards them. But yeah, that kind of molded me into the person I am today. Dysfunctional family is serious. And I was always a hero role. It's different roles in a dysfunctional family. We got the black sheep. My sister and I was the heroes. So we can't fuck up. And when we fuck up, it mess with us.
Everything fell on y'all backs.
So, like, I wrote in a post the other day, and I was like, damn, I got 6 people looking at me and 2 children. I can't stop.
Damn, I'm learning this at the same time. Y'all learning this, you know, everything that's going on in our life.
Let's talk about your life.
I'm gonna put this to the side because I did have some questions that I put together, but I'm gonna put this to the side. Before I even continue, how do you feel about therapy? What's your thoughts on therapy?
I love therapy. I love therapy. I feel like as a community, you must have therapy. We've been through so much trauma before we was even born. My son, I talked to him the other day because I've been trying to push him towards getting therapy, and it's not. He's like, "Mom, you think it's something wrong with me?" I'm like, "No, but it's real cool just talking to someone sometimes judgment free. Mm-hmm. You're amazing. Everything about you is wonderful, but sometimes we need that extra help. Sometimes we need that push. Sometimes we just need that conversation, that listening ear."
And one of the things that's super important and dope with therapy is it's hard to get the 100% truth from the people you know.
True.
And I don't even mean that in the sense of like you might have yes men around you. When somebody just, for instance, right, I got 3 brothers. I've known them my whole life. So if someone else outside of that comes to me and say, "Yo, your brother," most likely my reaction is gonna be, "That's how he is. You don't gotta worry about it."
Well, don't talk about my brother.
all that. But I say that to say we get so comfortable with seeing certain things that we don't learn to be objective from a different eye. So therapy for me is super important because you get that judgment free from somebody who does not know you from a hole in the wall. So they're not there to worry about your feelings. Mm-hmm. They're not there to worry about how you're gonna react. They're simply there to tell you about the negative things that you might not even know you're doing as far as your personality, your characteristics, or just how you move on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we really need someone who's not even from our environment to be like, "Yo, that's not right. Like, why are you doing that?" Mm-hmm. But because we're so conditioned and we're so comfortable, it's just a natural thing.
And we feel like that's something for the privilege. Oh, I don't got time for therapy. What you mean? Mm-hmm. Black people don't do therapy. We feel like it's basically like we don't deserve certain things.
Exactly.
Which is really a sickness, all of itself.
Like the number one the number one response is, "I'm not white, but I need to go talk to somebody for." Mm-hmm. That's like the number one thing. But just like I said in previous episodes, if you really try to dissect, like Sade said, her mom was an addict, right? To somebody on a surface level, they hear that and they only thinking about just the mother. Rightfully so. Mm-hmm. The mother's, going through those emotions, going through that illness, trying to deal with that. But if you dissect it and really think of how hard that was on somebody who's supposed to be a kid. Mm-hmm. Like when you were a kid, you're supposed to be just a kid. Go outside, you riding bikes, you playing with your friends. Kids is not supposed to be dealing with the shit that we deal with. PTSD is super real. Mm-hmm. So the fact that at 30 years old, you can still see the emotion when she speak about it, that lets you know that it's not just a normal thing. Mm-hmm. The world makes it seem like it's normal because they put a big they separate everything. The ghetto, this is where all of these things happen, but they're okay. It happens every day. The suburbs, this is where this happens. And the suburbs is just looked at as a whole different thing. Wow, it's damn near war over here.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. You have people coming back from Iraq. If they hear a loud shot, you might see them in the middle of the street ducking.
Yeah.
It's no different from someone that was born right around the corner where you see your first body between 5 and 8 years old.
True.
These are real traumatic experiences. These are real things. A lot of parents, I want to say this carefully because I don't want to offend nobody. A lot of parents, mainly from, I want to say like the 80s and, even further than that, they kind of look at things like, it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. We here now. What's the reason I try to deal with it? And in my opinion, I think that's one of the things that need to change. Because like I said, I'm going to go back to that. You can see the emotion in Sade actually speaking about it. And that should let you know that it's not just
and I'm nervous
a thing
too.
That happened. You good. Don't really be nervous. But it's real things, man. And I've spoken about this on a previous episode. I don't drink for my own reasons. It's just something I don't do. But I always thought because I don't drink that there's certain characteristics that I'm just not gonna have. But that was my fault because that's what I tied it to. But sometimes even if you're not engaging in the actual act, being that you're around it for so long, you can have those same characteristics.
I don't want to cut you off, but I don't want to forget because that just really reminds me of something. I'm really like the allegory of the cave, Plato. I kind of look at like our surroundings as that cave where they was. I don't know if you're familiar, but just like write that down. The allegory of the cave from Plato. They was locked up, tied together in a cave, but this was their norm. They saw pictures of trees that were shadows because the people above them would make puppets. They're gonna think that's really a tree. So I'm good with my shadow tree because this is all I know. And I don't need to move my neck. I don't need to expand because this is all I know. My limbs don't mean nothing. I'm good with just looking at this tree. So when someone escaped, so one of the cavemen escaped, and then he came out, his eyes was hurting, like, because now you're seeing real sun. So when you first get out, you're gonna it's gonna be hard. It's hard to adjust, like, damn, what is this? Mm-hmm. And naturally, you're gonna want to go back. So he said, damn, the tree it has green leaves, it's brown, comes from the ground, it feels a certain way. I can move my arm, I can move my legs. You're gonna go back and you're gonna go tell a fellow caveman, you go tell your friends, like, damn, if you go to school, get an education, your salary increased so much, your mind increased to this next level. Nah, I can't do that right now. I'm working too much. I got 3 kids. I can't do this. I can't do that. You're gonna stay in that cave, or when it comes down to, oh, I just went to therapy, I feel better. People that's dealing with sickness, that's dealing with all that. Now I'm not going to therapy, that's for white people. No, but I feel really better. Like, I really feel better. Like, it's a real thing. This is good. I got a free one too. Nah, I don't got no time for that. Oh, maybe let's do it together on Saturday. All you're going to do is drink and smoke, right? You can smoke and listen to her on the phone. Nah, I'm not going to do that. So it's up to you to, you want to help sometimes, but it's just like, damn, once you get out that cave and you see certain things, it changes your whole world. And naturally, I feel like as a human of color, you're going to want to help others. Mm-hmm. And you're going to want to pull them up. But sometimes you just have to let that go because that's the norm, that's society. And you got that's enlightenment. You got enlightened with certain things. And there's some certain shit that you just done, I'm sorry for cursing, you would never be on that level. And you would never understand. Oh, Sade, why you buying a bottle of Hennessy? Like, that's expensive. You could put that in the savings. It's still the girl from the Bronx want to drink a bottle of Hennessy, but I still, you get what I'm saying? So, I forget easy, but I don't know how I got to there, but it's like what is the norm for us. Don't feel bad like you're doing, like, oh, like it's a lot of people that's conscious. That's bad. That's bad. Mm-hmm. No, that's your struggle. That's your situation. That's who you are as a person. Not that you're not doing bad. Bad is they got enlightenment in certain things, and you didn't get enlightenment, and you enlightened in certain things, and they not. All right, I'm done with that. The allegory of the cave, Plato. I think they even got a YouTube video on it too.
You just said something important that leads me to a point. If you remember the last thing you said.
What was the last thing I said? You got enlightenment in certain things. Yeah, and yeah.
That's a perfect thing because the way you just said it. Some people might be more enlightened than others. Let's take the independent aspect out of it for a quick second, right? So me being a regular person, her being a regular person. Mm-hmm. If I'm more enlightened about something more than she is, wouldn't it be more beneficial? Wouldn't it be more helpful for me to come to her and be like, yo, I see what you're trying to do, but this is the information that you're gonna need. Mm-hmm. Versus me over here knowing that I have the right information, knowing that whatever information she has is not right, but I'm still just over here just holding it for myself.
Well, just watch. That happened to me the other day at work, and I had to say something to the young girl. Don't just watch. If you see me doing something wrong, please let me know. I learn every day. You never stop learning. Please let me know. And my other two, they just stared at me. I don't want you to feel away. It's not that. Please let me know so we could be a team and a unit. Once whatever you know, you could be supportive towards me and vice versa. We learn every day. Let's share from each other.
Exactly, man.
Stop letting each other fuck up.
And I'm not gonna bleep that out because I feel like I need to hear that. That's something that I've repeated off camera like a million times, and even to this day when I speak to certain people on the phone, that's something that I try to preach all the time. If you have information, now I'm not saying go outside and just walk by 5 random people and give them the information. If you want to do that, cool, you're an amazing person. But specifically to the ones around you, why would you want to be around people that's not like-minded, that doesn't have I don't want to say the same goals, because we all have different goals, but the same drive and the same passion that you have for achieving whatever goals they want to achieve. Why wouldn't you want to give information to those instead of holding it back? And then once you're up here, then thinking, all right, now I want to give that information. There's no point in that. Once we kind of, once again, take away that independent factor, because I know that's a big thing with this generation. Everybody's independent. Everybody can do things on their own. Kudos to you. Everybody, you're right. Everybody can do something on their own. But the most successful people, the people who have foundations that, my voice just cracked crazy. The people who have a certain foundation that allows whatever they're doing to stand 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, even 100 years, and it keeps going. That's because they wasn't stingy with information. That's because they weren't, what's the word I'm looking for? They just weren't to themselves. They weren't afraid. That's the word I'm looking for. They weren't afraid to have somebody pass them.
Outshine them.
Or be right there on the same level. And I think that's something that plays a big part into just everything nowadays, right? Go back to go back to the start of Smiles Catering and her, doing the research and wanting to have that business go as far as it, should go. Imagine if she didn't do the research. Imagine if she wasn't enlightened about any part of that and just took a shot and said, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but we just gonna do it. Mm-hmm. She did the research, she got enlightened, and because she thinks this way, because she operates this way, whoever's around her that's trying to get into the same thing, and you can correct me if I am wrong, I feel like she's gonna point them in the right direction. Maybe not give them the exact step-by-step that she took, because we all got our different roads to success. Even if the roads seem super similar, even if they intertwine at a certain point, it's still our own roads. So whatever steps worked for her, whatever steps worked for me, might not necessarily work for you. But to be able to gain information from somebody who has taken those steps and you see it flourishing, that's something I think just a lot of communities
and
around
someone
the
that
world,
looks like you, and like you said, keep going.
a lot of communities just around the world. I was just about to say that people who look exactly like us, and not to go off, but I just feel the need to say this, and I said this on a podcast. Link will be down below. Shameless plug. Y'all could go with all of that. I feel the need to say this. Black, brown, black, brown, right? There's this whole thing going on of black and brown people at war, black and brown people taking each other out. And this is coming from me, somebody who's Puerto Rican, but understand the roots, knows my roots, know exactly where I stem from, where I come from, all of that shit. I don't want to go too off, but this is just a perfect thing to have us both on camera so you can see that there's no difference. There's no difference at all. The only difference is culture. I might speak Spanish. She's Haitian, so
speak Creole.
She might speak Creole. That's the only difference. It's for lack of a better term, and I said this before, it's just a different boat stop. Like, that's it. I wanted to say that because that leads me into the point I was making. People who look at us, who look like us, are usually the first ones to withhold information. Are usually the first ones to feel like, if I give this person this information, they, just like she said, they're gonna excel before I do. They're gonna make it before me. We have to eliminate that way of thinking and come more from a helpful perspective.
And it's not gonna be on some I know it all or different things in that nature. I worked in a high school for about a year, and I was an advisor, and I always told my students, black and brown, like, I don't know everything. I came from the same place you came from, but I know I got this piece of paper, and if you want to get this piece of paper, you need to do what you need to do, and which is go to school. To ask, oh, Miss Sade, I don't know everything. I'm still figuring out my journey. If you need me to be there, I was the most supportive person. I'm gonna link this in my Instagram. So it's gonna be a couple of my students. They're gonna tell you. The number one thing I'll knock on your door real quick, and I'll let my students know. I do know they want you to fail. I don't. So it's up to you if you're gonna fail or not. Not saying that you can't try again, because you will. But at this moment, you will be able to do it if you put the effort in. That's all I can tell you that I know.
You have to work, man. Whatever you want in life it's not easy. And I'm gonna just be raw with this. If you're not a white kid with born with a silver spoon in your mouth, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy at all. And once you identify that and learn that it's better to help each other instead of always trying to be the one, because I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like that's a lot of people's downfall, thinking that you have to be the one. You got to be the one that's on the top. Look at music. Drake is number one, and I guess music is a little different because the motive behind that is that you need to be number one. But the era I come from, it was always multiple people standing up there at that level, and there wasn't no animosity. It wasn't no negative thinking behind it. It was kind of a helpful thing. So I think if we just kind of get back to that, that can help a lot of the bullshit that's going on. And that's why I wanted to even, come up with something that pertains to mental health, because everything affects the brain. Every single thing affects the brain. And there's no just lost my train of thought. Everything we do affects the brain. Everything. And I don't mean like in an illness, like you got brain damage or anything like that. You got to think before you do something, right? When you get dressed, that's your brain communicating to your legs how to put your pants on. It's your brain communicating to your hands how to, whatever it is you're trying to do. So the brain is with you. Besides the brain being on, where it is, the brain is with you everywhere you go. So in order to have a clear way of thinking, then you got to make sure the brain is healthy. You can't continue to do the same shit. You can't continue to even think the same way and utter the same things. It's not gonna leave you in no different pattern. It's not gonna change your direction. If I'm doing 100 jumping jacks every day, right? Let's say 30 days, I'm doing 100 jumping jacks every day for 30 days. What did I accomplish? I didn't go 101 on day 2. I didn't go 102 on day 3. It's just 100 jumping jacks for 30 days straight. I might be able to breathe a little better, but what is the involvement? How did I elevate from the jumping jacks? Or did I just get comfortable in trying to do a certain number of jumping jacks and then just fell in being able to do that number and then that was it? I'm not gonna break that down. Hopefully y'all break that down and get exactly what I mean by that. But just think about it. What I want to do now is what put you.
I'm still thinking about the jumping jack. Sorry.
No, you good. What motivated you to do the events? Express Your Love. 2017, we spoke about it in the beginning. 2017, she had an amazing event, Express Your Love. There was food there, there was drinks there, a lot of live performances. She had a live artist, like an actual, painting artist that did amazing work that day. I want to say it was a lot. I don't want to mess it up. 2017 was a little while ago, but it was an amazing event. It was the first time that I actually got to meet her in person and just kind of witness everything that was happening and kind of see I'm not even gonna say my opinion, like this is a fact for me. This was my personal first time meeting somebody that was I guess kind of on the same level, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is I didn't have to search like real far and like wide to find this person. I didn't have to go through my cable channels and then look like, damn, like I hope I could be a part of that and then not really know how. It was the first time that I met somebody that was doing a lot of the great things that you would see from somebody who's on TV, like, giving back to the community.
Really?
Like, for me, hell yeah. Giving back to the community, putting a networking event together. I want to stress that before, I let her talk. Like, putting a network event together, I've never done it, but I can imagine the stress because that's based around strangers coming together to do something. Mm-hmm. A lot of people my personality don't click with a lot of people. I'm very calm. I'm known as the most friendly, unfriendly person you'll ever meet. There's just a few people that I'm cool with and I might talk to consistently. Yeah, selective, that's it. And I kind of just stay to myself. Even at the event, I performed. Of course, I said what up to her and stood around with some things, but I eventually had to leave and do something else. That's just how I am. So I just wanted to say that was the first time me being at an event like that where I actually met somebody like that. Because I've had the idea to do certain things a long time. It's just the people that I was bouncing these ideas off of was just never on the same level. So it just never came to fruition. So
it's just the beginning.
I'm with it. So yeah, I want to let you talk about that because number one, that's fire to do.
Thank you.
And especially at a young age. A black woman, I'm gonna say a black queen, to do that, to plan it fully, and to have like all the people you had in place. Because when I was there, I seen someone who made custom jewelry. Mm-hmm. There was someone, I don't want to get her name wrong, so I'm not gonna try it. But I believe that
I'm gonna have all the vendors. I'm gonna send it to him. We're gonna have the link, so you can get a full so you can see because the black businesses that was there, the vendors, the energy that was there was you can't even explain. But my number one thing was to have a judgment-free place for people to network, for people to feel comfortable enough to show their craft, show their gift from God. Because I feel I witnessed as being a young entrepreneur doing the catering. I started at 23 or 24 when I had my daughter. Oh, she can't cook because she's so young. And I'm not paying her this much because she's so young. And just, looking at me a certain way. And I didn't want people to come into, or even when I did, I'll pay for, I'm not going to talk about I'm not going to name the festivals that I paid for, but they looked at me a certain way. I just gave you $1,000 to be here. You should do certain things and make someone feel welcome. If they just handed you $1,000, you don't know how they got that. Right. So I just wanted everybody to come in and feel comfortable and feel free. And I noticed everyone that came to my events came to the next one and the next one and connected with each other. And that was my overall goal, for them to have someone to connect with. Not for, I do this, and act any kind of bougie kind of way, because you come to as soon as you walk in, you're going to walk out, because that's not our vibes there. Mm-hmm. So that was my number one thing. I went to certain events. I saw certain energy. I didn't like that. I wanted to have a space that people could feel comfortable and feel free and network and share their gifts. So we had, then to get information, it wasn't just to, we're going to have drinks, we're going to have certain things, because it's going to be a vibe, because that's what I am. But we had different things that are talking about how to start a business. We have workshops that talk about how to start a business, how to start a publishing company, nonprofit, how to start a nonprofit, different things like that. I made sure, and for people that is getting into the networking events, make sure you have things that people could take home from the business that support you. So that was my big thing. Yeah, you're gonna leave with a gift bag, but the main thing is you leave with something from one of these businesses that you couldn't reach to their table yet. Or make sure you constantly post the artists that performed at my event, because they took the time to come here and perform. Mm-hmm. And make sure they feel welcome and feel comfortable and feel, I don't want to say like the thing of free, but I feel like a lot of these with these networking events, they make you pay these high prices, they make you do all these different things, so you feel pressured and you don't feel welcome, so you don't perform or express yourself how you really want to, or they don't care at all. So you say, damn, I just wasted my time. I wanted to be in that middle. It's professional enough for you to feel like it's worth you spending your time and money, but it's laid back enough that you can enjoy it. And my number one reason was, as being a Black business owner, having other Black and Latino, Black and brown, feeling comfortable to share their craft.
And you definitely did it. I can honestly say, like, the first time I felt like I was known, and I know I was going to like sound however it sounds, but first time I felt like it wasn't my first time performing at that event. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Like I remember about to perform. I think the DJ played like the wrong music or something like that. So I don't know who the hell I thought I was. I went into some weird comedian bag. Everybody was laughing and shit. I just kept going, and that kind of spaced out the time. Like, I guess what am I trying to say? Like, for lack of a better term, like, everybody was receptive of it. It wasn't like people was just looking at me like, okay, so what do you perform? Or what are you gonna perform? And then, when the mishap happened with the DJ, my main thing was to, if it's gonna be weird, why extend that? So I just started talking. The people was receptive. Everybody there was like genuine. I wish I could remember like everybody's name who I met there, but everybody was just genuine. And it wasn't just me. After I don't know, I forgot his name, but after the guy who painted and there's another female rapper who I still follow to this day. I forgot her name, but she's super super dope. But it was after Mm-hmm. It was after everyone performed. It was genuine love and support for each and every person there. So that was always dope to me. And I think it was the third one I performed at again. With me and Nina.
That was in the Bronx. That was big. That was in the Bronx, and it was awesome. And like my thing with my events is like show people respect. And I'm big on like how people like how the universe work and all that. I'm big on what you give is what you give is what you get back. Mm-hmm. So it's certain things that I didn't have to say. I don't know these people, but they knew to do certain things. Because if you would go to certain events, it's like I don't care. Mm-hmm. But that's not what for express your love. I want people to express they love and go home and feel good, and that will make me feel good. As we talked about before, a caretaker, I live for others. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like I spoke to, like we're gonna have to talk after this is done because this next event needs to happen soon. But I have people that basically it's feel weird or something like kind of like a testimony, like that I was about to commit suicide before I came to your event. I'm not gonna give names, but it was certain different things, or I love you like a sister, and they met me like twice. Mm-hmm. So I know, just like the catering opened the door, as one of my goals, because I needed a catering company to finish school, which was another goal. Mm-hmm. And the catering company, the event became a goal from the catering company. So while I was working on, now the catering company reached my overall goal. So now on one of my small goals is like I'm breaking down everything how you do these events. And while I'm participating in events and paying for other events, I'm networking and I'm picking up business cards. And I'm meeting people and I'm throwing out that idea like how you think that sounds? Or when I'm at an event, how you make this work? And I'm seeing the things they did that I didn't like. I can't say they did wrong, but I'm seeing the negative and I'm taking the negative up, and I'm seeing the positive and I'm going from that. And then here comes Express Your Love. It took me 6 months to get that event together. 6 months you work on your goal. So every time it takes me 6 months. You cannot rush things. So my events was like every 6 months to a year. One time I did an event, somebody talked me into it. It was a month. I wasn't happy with it because it was rushed. You wasn't there, thank God.
No, that's dope though, man. Cause, and I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record because I keep just repeating that one thing, but see somebody that actually takes time to do these events. That's not just a self-driven event. Is actually there for the community. Is actually there for different artists and different people. Different facets of life or whatever to come together and be able to do something together. Mm-hmm. Growing up the way I grew up, it wasn't separated in terms of race, but it was separated in terms of profession. Mm. One group of people, one group of people did this thing over here, another group did this thing, and nobody ever really came together. They just always kind of, had it separate. And that's always been like a personal fight with me when I used to be heavy into music was how can I use my music to kind of bring different groups together and not feel like I have to cater to one at a time or just have to cater to one over the other. So that was very, very dope to just be at an event where you have different people because like I said, someone who made jewelry, to other artists, a painter, which is still an artist, clothing designers, I don't know the technical term for it, but it was also someone who was very into stones and gems and just that whole lifestyle. That's what I'm gonna say because I don't even want to disrespect.
And I'm definitely gonna have her link in the description or whatever, because let me tell you, everyone that I had 4 events, she was at the beginning and she's been there for the last, and I spoke to her the other day. Another thing is in our community, what we don't do. Okay, Sade have events. This is her craft, but we're not letting the money circle. if I have to, how can I explain this? Before I will purchase something, which I'm not saying I don't go to the stores, I'm not going to Fashion Nova, I do. That's it. But before I purchase certain things, I go see if it's Black or Latino owned, if I can find it. Before I search on Amazon, I go search on YouTube and see if I can find it from a Black or Latino business. Most likely, don't quote me because I don't know, because I buy things, I constantly buy things. This, pretty sure, yeah, this was a Black guy, yeah, of course. But I don't know the name of the company because I'm constantly buying within, constantly letting the money circle. Whatever I need, you can find it in your community. Let the money circle constantly. Like, I'm big on health, so I said, okay, everybody's talking about CMOS. I want to get CMOS. I started doing my research. It was easy for me to go on Amazon and purchase a CMOS on Amazon, but I looked for someone that looks like me, that's going through the same struggle I'm going through as being a business owner, and I purchased it from him. I did a video for him. If you want, you can link the video as well. Rural Jamaica, great CMOS. The benefits is endless. But for me, just doing that thing, just making that server, you don't know what you just did, what groceries you put in somebody's fridge. Because that's what happened with me when somebody asked me to cater for them and I cater for their events, that was paying my rent. That was helping with my tuition. So it's a big thing to keep the money in the community. Of course, you're gonna have to buy with somewhere else. So of course, you're gonna have to use Amazon, but first try to look and see if someone has certain little things that you may need. So I can't say every company, but I could give a good 90% of companies, y'all could quote me on this, they could say I purchased their product more than once. Or I can be reached. Or even simple thing is, oh, Sade, can you tag this or post this? I'm going to do it off the rip. The Uncelebs, they came to my first event. That's they have a podcast. Shout out to them. We love the Uncelebs. Oh my gosh. I've been rocking with them ever since. I love them.
I gotta catch up on a few episodes, but I definitely been tuned into their podcast.
Yes, catch the Uncelebs. They are amazing. But it's just the little small things. Support your community. Support people that look like you. You build friendship that's lifelong. I have friends. That's why I call it Expression Love family. The people that I meet from Expression Love, those are my friends now. And I just think that's kind of crazy, but I feel like this is my journey and it was meant to be. Yeah.
It's always different when it's genuine energy and it's like genuine support and genuine respect. Like I said, when you reached out to me, like she didn't know me at all. She heard the music and it was like, yo, he gotta perform, man. It's just
performing. Good. Oh my
gosh. Thank you for having me. Just like I said in the last episode, like I still get nervous to this day if anybody calls me to perform. I'll do it. But that's how you know, like, you know, it's just a different passion that when you get nervous. So I definitely appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
If you could right now, as 30-year-old Sade, as the successful woman that you've been, the woman who's gone through the things you've gone through, if you were to meet your old self, the young Sade who's going through having an addict mom and trying to keep the lights on.
Don't make me cry. Oh gosh, go ahead.
And you know, going through that and keeping the lights on for your brothers and sisters. Whether it's a piece of advice or just something motivating, if you had the chance, as you now, to speak to you then, what would you say?
I'll definitely say don't stop trying. You're going to fail sometimes, but don't stop trying. Yeah. Don't stop trying, guys.
I like that. Listen, I didn't know this was going to be like this. I've learned a lot of the things just like y'all. Like I had no idea about like the things with your mother and you know the things with her second child being in the hospital and just that whole struggle. So that's why I wanna end it on this note right here, because I think it's super, super important to, one of the big things with moving on is being able to identify what was holding you back. So to sit here now as a grown woman and to be able to reflect on, the childhood and dealing with those things with her mother, and being a provider, being a caretaker, being a hero, so to speak, and taking all of that, holding it, once again, not maybe complain to yourself, but not like really complaining to the world, and just kind of taking it day by day and just doing what the fuck you have to do to go forward, man. I personally want to say that that's commendable. Like, shout out to you for.
Thank you.
Look.
Shout out to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know what somebody's been through. You never know somebody's story. It's the reason why I talk the way I talk. It's the reason why I move the way I move. It's the reason why I operate the way I operate. People can say whatever they want about it, but I'm going to always be me until the day I die, because I do not know every person that I either lock eyes with or pass by. You never know what somebody's going through. So at this age, at just the way I'm thinking mentally, just this new space in life that I'm in, I treat everybody not only with the respect that I would hope to receive, but I treat everybody with equal respect, because you don't know nobody's story.
Kindness go a long way.
A long, long way.
Kindness and support. We going through a lot. 2020 been crazy for us. We've been dealing with struggles before we was even born. But we have to keep pushing, and we can't do it on our own. We need each other.
I don't know if there's anything better I could say, man. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. I feel like I'm gonna butcher her name, but let me read it that way. I'll make sure I get it right. Oluwatoyin. Hopefully I got that right. The young activist who was sadly taken from us. Her birthday was August 27th. She would have been 20 years old. Also want to say rest in peace to Elijah McClain, Breonna Taylor, Vanessa Guillen.
Yeah.
And of course George Floyd.
I live in Killeen. Yeah. That's off camera. That's where I moved to.
Oh man. That's gonna be another episode.
Definitely.
Thank
you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for doing the show. And anybody who knows me personally knows I have no problem giving anybody their flowers while they're still here. I do not believe in waiting till somebody's not here to smell their flowers to start saying shout out to you and everything they done. So that's the reason why I have the specific people that I have on this show. I know them on some kind of level personally, and I like to make sure that the conversation is flowing, it's helpful to you guys, and to also let you guys know that we're not here as experts. I'm definitely not an expert. I created this show because I knew I needed to do something for myself. It just kind of directed me into this because I wanted to document my progress and kind of show you guys that the same way I'm telling you guys the things we need to do to create a healthy mental space, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm human. Some days I might go off of my routine, or some days I might not even stick to the goals I have. But progression is everything. As long as you keep elevating, as long as you're better than the person you were yesterday, that's the only thing you need to worry about. The person in the mirror, nobody else, nothing else. That should be your main priority. Before we get out of here, I want to thank you not only for having me at those events, for coming here today to do this show.
Come anytime.
She let me know. She let me know, before we started that, she was a little nervous and just public speaking. So that's another reason why I'm saying thank you, because the things you spoke on wasn't just things for camera. You actually came here and spoke on real things, and the emotion showed. So I appreciate that. I want to say thank you for doing that. Guys, everything will be down below. Hopefully this conversation was just like the other conversations, and I hope you take the time to take away the important things from everything that was said today. And just to make sure we all on the same page, I'm going to take you down through it. So she spoke about listing 5 short-term goals as well as 5 long-term goals. Work on those goals for how long?
6 months at a time.
6 months at a time. And if you don't reach the goal that you want to reach, you do what?
You put it back in, but you number it from, you make that the first goal. So if it was number 3, it got to be pushed up to number 1. And you keep recycling the goals.
And the key is don't stop. Even after you reach that goal, don't stop.
Don't stop trying.
Don't stop trying. That might be another title. Listen, we all gonna be surprised when the video is uploaded of what the title is gonna be. Not only do we all have a story, but our story is exactly why we are the way we are, and our story has a lot to do with who we become. It's just up to you to take things out of that story and elevate, or let yourself drown in the negative aspects and the difficulties of that story.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also why I'm here, man. Appreciate you guys for stepping into the room. This is a place where having a healthy mind is priority. And even if the conversation sometimes may feel like it's not directly connected, remember, your mind does not leave you. Your brain does not leave you. Everywhere you walk, everything you do, your brain and your mind is with you. So why not try to be able to think the clearest you're able to think? Why not just be able to wake up and have not one negative thought in your brain? That's my priority. That's what I try to do here. That's creating a healthy space. That's creating a healthy mental. I appreciate you guys one more time. This was
Sade, owner of Smiles Catering.
And this was another episode, man. I go by the name of Desmond Bonet. I appreciate you guys. Tune in next week. We're going to keep this thing going.